My guest today on 12 Minutes With is Luca Parmitano, an Italian astronaut for the European Space Agency who has been selected as the pilot of NASA's Artemis 3 mission, the next step toward the moon landing. Welcome, Luca Parmitano, and thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
You were the first Italian commander on the International Space Station, the first Italian to ever perform a spacewalk, the first to ever organize a DJ set from space, and now you will be the first European to be part of an Artemis mission. Bring us back to the moment in which you received a call telling you that you were going to be part of this adventure.
Yeah, that's really recent, so it's really fresh in my mind, and I don't think I will ever forget the moment because this mission was not at all on my horizon. I wasn't thinking about an assignment. I was focusing on another job that I was doing at the time, which was taking care of the crew on orbit on the International Space Station. So when I saw the phone number of the boss of the astronaut corps, I thought it was going to be something related to that. So when I answered the phone, my mind was about 400 kilometers above the Earth, thinking about the mission ongoing. And when he told me, "Hey, Luca, we want you to be the pilot on the Artemis 3 mission," it didn't register for a second. And so I actually told my boss, I said, "Can you say that again? I was in this group." And when he told me the exact same words, I was speechless, which is quite unusual for me. And I was really grateful. Right away, I was flooded with gratitude at the opportunity, but also I was humbled by the mission and the achievements that we need to put in place in order to complete it successfully.
The Artemis 3 mission is set to launch in 2027. It does not involve a moon landing. Instead, you will stay in low Earth orbit to test the technology essential for a future moon landing. How important is this mission for NASA's moon program?
It's quite indispensable to lower the acceptable risk for the moon landing. You see, we are going to stay in Earth orbit because we don't know what the behavior of the spacecraft is going to be when performing very complex maneuver like rejoining close proximity operations and docking with two different spacecraft. None of this has been tested. None of this has been yet even simulated. We are working with the providers of the human landing systems to see how we can integrate our simulations, but we don't really know the behavior. So there is going to be an extensive involvement of the crew, the commander and the pilot. We will perform both maneuvers in automatic systems, with automatic systems and manual systems. We will always shadow the automatic approach because it's something that hasn't been tested yet. So it's indispensable because once we achieve our mission, then we'll know that we can complete these actions and the next crew can focus on the actual landing on the surface of the moon.
And NASA has described this mission as one of the most complex human space flights in recent history. But then what makes this mission so challenging from a technological but also from a human perspective?
From a technological point of view and logistics point of view, we have 3 launches that have to happen in close proximity and from very different spacecraft. So the first one to launch is going to be the spacecraft from Blue Origin. It's the only one that can loiter for about 30 days, giving us a little bit of a buffer to launch with our SLS system and the Orion spacecraft. We have a limit of about 21 days of resources. So we have 3 weeks to launch, join up with the Blue Origin spacecraft, rendezvous dock. We're going to have 2 astronauts going inside, and those are the technological aspects that are really complex. And then we're going to separate, fly around, check any visible effect of the docking rendezvous. And that's where we're going to have the 3rd launch of the SpaceX vehicle. They're also going to go into Earth orbit, and we're going to perform 2 rendezvous and docking again, manually and with automatic systems. So again, technology that's never been tested. And from a crew point of view, the spacecraft, the Orion, is only about 8 or 9 cubic meters. So people living in a small, close environment for up to 3 weeks in an environment that was not designed for the spacecraft, because Orion is designed for deep space where conditions are completely different in Earth orbit. So there's a lot going on. There's a lot of training and a lot of thoughts going into what the mission is going to look like.
And indeed, about this training, how are you and then your other crew members getting ready for such an adventure?
So our training is very complex and wonderfully different and varied. Only last week, we were at Pax River, which is the United States Naval Test Pilot School. We were there refreshing our skills as test pilots and flight test engineers. We flew there with 2 aircraft just to get refreshed on some of the techniques. Then this week, we started with several simulations. The first one in the mock-up with full suited and getting familiar with our spacesuits. And then yesterday, Andrea and I were in a 6-hour simulation dealing with several different malfunctions that we had to deal with together with the ground. These simulations are going to go on for the rest of the summer. And then in the fall, we're going to start working with the 2 landing systems so that we do complex simulation, both with the ground teams and the flight team.
You sound indeed very busy, and you're going into orbit, as you said, with 3 other astronauts from NASA. On Earth, we know that the political relationship between the EU and the US has been very tense lately. How is it in orbit?
It's completely different. We don't look at what's happening at political level. We are operators. We are used to, there's an expression, to work across the aisle. We are not interested in political backgrounds or political heritage or political views or religion. We are focused on exploration, on technology, on science. We like to build bridges, not walls. And so even though this is indeed a race with a political background to go back to the moon, we as Europeans, we as Italians, we want to be strong partners of the United States in this race. And we all feel a common goal, which is that of the betterment of humankind on Earth, our life. And this is the next step. So we are joined by a common goal.
And you mentioned before competition. We know that China and India are also trying to get to the moon. Is this posing any pressure, let's say, to the Artemis program?
I would say so. I think there is a real race going on. There is a pressure. That's why I believe that NASA administration a couple of months ago made those announcements to the Ignition program, where they want to accelerate the number of flights and the sequence of flights. But that with that pressure comes also a positive attitude that they want to achieve it. And we as Europeans have an opportunity to be part of this. So as a staff member of the European Space Agency, I believe that it's a positive move, that things are moving.
NASA is targeting mid to late 2027 for Artemis 3, but some experts say the timeline is kind of ambitious. What are your thoughts on this?
I think it is ambitious, and I think it should be ambitious. If we want to achieve complex objectives, you have to be ambitious and push hard. We are getting ready for this mission as if it's going to happen within 1 year. If that doesn't happen, it will not be because we are not ready. It will be because part of the system is not working at the same pace that we can put in.
In a moving speech after being selected for Artemis 3, you said that Italy was your launch pad and that the European Space Agency was your launch tower. What did Italy give you, and what will you bring into orbit from your European identity?
You have to think that when I was only 19 years old, Italy invested a lot in me, in a young man that had big dreams. So I was able to go to the Italian Air Force Academy that gave me education, not only on paper, but also professional education. The Italian Air Force provided me with skills and a background that is very useful today in my job. But in general, the Italian system, which is a 100% free education system, gave me a lot of different tools that allowed me to continue growing as a young man, as an expert, as a professional, as a pilot. And then for Europeans, we have an incredible gift. People my age, we were not born Europeans. We became Europeans. This identity was desired. This identity has been a goal, something that we wanted to achieve. And so I bring that strive. I think that desire. I bring that strong feeling that this is something that I've always wanted, that we wanted as Europeans. And I bring that with me to share with everybody else.
What will you miss the most when in orbit?
Oh, I can already answer that question. Absolutely nothing. It's the time on orbit is limited. We all know that. Even if you go for a long duration missions, and I've spent 366 days in orbit on 2 different missions before. We know that it's borrowed time. It doesn't belong to us. So when you go on such a mission, when you have that privilege, you leave everything on the ground and knowing that you will be there, and you go up thinking of everything that you can get from living on orbit. So I already know that I will not miss much. I will be looking forward to a good coffee once I land, but I would say that that's about it.
Thank you very much, Luca Parmitano, for joining us on 12 Minutes With, and good luck for the Artemis 3.
Thank you.